Welcome to FreedomCast, a podcast dedicated to interviewing star icons and entrepreneurs who have encouraged others to become more healthy and active. My name is Ashton, and it's my pleasure to host you as we take another trip through the fitness industry. It's entertaining and informative, and I hope it makes fitness more exciting and special to you in your own fitness journey. FreedomCast is supported by Freedom Fitness Equipment in Charlotte, North Carolina. Freedom Fitness Equipment serves the health and fitness community nationwide, from free weights and strength equipment for home gyms and studios to cardio and conditioning equipment for commercial spaces. Check them out at freedomfitnessequipment.com. Let's get rolling with today's show. Appreciate you popping on here. Forrest is a coach of 12 years, blowing up on TikTok, and has helped a bunch of people just in terms of fitness and really good health tips. And the reason I wanted to have you on, Forrest, is because your content is hilarious, and you seem to be approaching fitness a little bit differently, kind of no nonsense style, which I really love. So I wanted to have you on to talk about it, talk about your gym and how you got started with all this. So welcome. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. I've been following your stuff too. I like your story. I like your story as well. Like, you just kind of you started that fitness equipment company, right? And you were like, you kind of gave up some other stuff, right?
Yeah. They gave up a 9 to 5 and had a bunch of other side hustles that I just completely dropped for that, basically. So
nice. How's that going?
Going really well. So this is our full time, me and my wife, and I never thought that it would turn out to be as big as it is now. But we've been making, just like you, I mean, we've been pushing social pretty hard, and we've been seeing some really good progress and results from that. So I don't know what the community's been like for you guys, but for us, at least, it's been awesome. Really good responses. The podcast helps a little bit, and people are, the amount of orders we've gotten has blown up. Have you seen it? Have you seen a difference in membership and people coming to you for either training, or I don't know if you do online stuff as well?
Yeah, I do online stuff as well.
Nice.
Yeah, huge. It's been big. It's been, I mean, I think we're fortunate too, because my gym is mainly, it's like, it has these huge bay doors. So like half of it is outdoors, and
Okay.
like I'm in Hermosa Beach.
Yeah.
So, you know, like the weather's pretty nice year round.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah. So we kind of have a unique situation where it's very open air. And it's like, I can turn people away if I want. Yeah. So I keep the community relatively pretty tight knit. Okay. So it's been really good. We have like a waiting list to join right now, because we only allow certain people in.
Oh my gosh.
So it's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, you definitely want to have that, because you kind of get to pick and choose. Is it, so just so people know, what's the background on the gym? True CrossFit gym, or you kind of mix it up?
We mix it up a lot. I think so. The background of the gym was like, I started the gym back in 2008. And it was just, I mean, honestly, the gym actually didn't really start till 2009. Okay. We were kind of bouncing around a bit in 2008. I was in a commercial gym doing bodybuilding stuff. Oh. And I just gotten pretty bored of it. Like, the whole idea of a commercial gym was just weird to me, just because there wasn't a lot of community. People didn't talk to each other. Nobody said hi to each other. It just felt like it was lacking. And this weird thing like CrossFit came around at the time, and it was just like me and my buddies doing some workouts in a park, and we would have a little leaderboard, and then we would invite people in, and we cheered each other on. And I was like, wow, that's kind of what I've been looking for. Yeah. And the idea of bodybuilding was okay, but you know, like, everybody wants to look good. But I was more interested in like the health and like the performance aspect of things. Like, yeah. I didn't really care a whole lot. Like, I cared about how I looked for sure, but I wanted performance as well. And so CrossFit kind of came around, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a good mix. And I just think it's fun. Yeah. And then so I basically gave up 9 to 5 as well. Okay. I had applied to a bunch of business schools at the time. It was 2008 was like the housing crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody was applying to business schools, and I was basically going to do the same thing. And I applied, and I got into USC. Oh. And it came time to write a $20,000 check to secure my spot. And I was just like, I don't really want to do this. I'll just come out and be a slave to my student loan debts.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to start a gym. I'm just going to start this gym, which at the time was crazy because it's like you're at the bottom of the housing crash.
Yeah.
And like you're starting a gym with 20 grand, which isn't very much, right? You know.
Oh yeah.
and it's just like you're going to be teaching a thing called CrossFit that zero people knew about. Nobody knew about it, right?
Yep.
And I had this space that was it's the space that I have now, this old garage. Like it was like an old auto garage. And we had no rubber floors, we had nothing. And I just grinded the whole time.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
So from 08 to now, what did your, I'll just ask about membership numbers. Was it crazy? You said grind, like what kind of grind are we talking here? Are we talking like it went from 1 to 2 in the first year and then from 2 to 20 and like, how was that progression?
No, the progression was actually pretty quick. Like,
Okay.
like I started the gym with like 15 people.
Okay.
And then by the end of that first month, I had 25.
Nice.
And then by the end of the next month, I probably had around 50.
Wow.
And then so what happened was it started to grow really quickly. And I was teaching all the classes. I was cleaning up afterwards.
Oof.
And then I hired my first employee, and she was basically like somebody who had lost her job. She was like, can I just do like the front desk stuff? And like, I'm like, yeah, but there's not much to do. And so that's basically how it kind of got started. And after like 2-ish years, I grew to about 350 members.
Wow.
Paying around 160 to 180 a month.
Nice.
And then there's a bunch of other shit that happened. Like I was private training this hedge fund guy who he invested 1.2 mil, and I opened up a huge facility that had cycling and yoga and Pilates and hot cold tubs, and it was like 15,000 square feet, and it was just kind of like 5 studios under one, and I had a bunch of other like types of classes going on, and that relationship kind of went south, and then so that place went under after about 4 years. I put a good 4 years into that. That place grew to around 500 or 600 members. Closed that one down. Then I went into a partnership with Velocity gyms, and did like a CrossFit program in there. Then they turned into like the Dodger facility, and then I pulled out of that. And then now it's just one facility, and I'm going online.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, man. You said $1.4 million for that facility?
1.2. Yeah, 1.2. And I put in a lot of my own money into that as well, like all the money that I had saved up. And I almost lost everything in that whole deal. It was pretty traumatic. Like, and during that time too, I was in a failing relationship. My dad passed away. And like, you have like this other thing, like if you ever had a business partnership go sideways, it's like a divorce. It's like, it's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
So all that stuff kind of happened. It kind of threw me into like a pretty major like depression and feeling of failure in around 2017. And I just like barely made it out of that. I came back to my Hermosa gym, and it was like barely holding on. My 2 top coaches basically got stolen away by another member to start a competing gym. And it was just like I had to pull myself up basically. And it was those days too where it's like you just want to dig yourself in a hole and just never come out. It was bad.
No kidding. So what was the impetus for starting that? I'm thinking going from a CrossFit gym to some crazy facility like that, there's got to be something else going on here.
Well, I mean, I've always been a fan of multiple types of fitness, and CrossFit back in the day. So the whole idea of CrossFit to me, my personal philosophy of CrossFit is it encompasses a lot of different things. It encompasses basically being mobile, being athletic, the bodybuilding aspect. I still incorporate a lot of that in powerlifting as well, trying to lift as much as you possibly can, Olympic weightlifting, strongman stuff.
Nice.
I like all of it. And like, I like to train in aspects of all of those areas. And to me, that's what CrossFit is. A lot of people look at CrossFit as just like the CrossFit Games.
Right.
And the CrossFit Games incorporates a lot of those things too. Like they've had stand-up paddleboard and a lot of other strange things that isn't typical CrossFit.
Mhm.
So
So what does the gym look like now? How big is the facility where you are, and what kind of setup are we looking at if somebody walks in?
currently now it's about 2,500 square feet of indoor space, two
Mhm.
different bays set up side by side, and about another 2,500 square feet of outdoor space. Um, we're sitting around 250-ish members, 40 to 50 members.
Okay.
And like, yeah, I mean, it's just, we run classes all day. You have CrossFit, we have open gym. So people are doing their own programming
Okay.
all day. And then we have like a beginner program, keep it super simple.
As far as the equipment involved, you mentioned strongman, powerlift, and that kind of thing. So is it set up like a traditional CrossFit gym? Because when I think of a traditional CrossFit gym, I think rigs, bars, wall balls, that kind of thing. Or do you have more of different types where you've got a diverse mix of power bars and strongman implements, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we have it set up as a typical CrossFit gym.
Okay.
We have those other aspects. We have axles and, you know, like big farmer carry things and like the logs and like you know, we have trap bar, we have Swiss bars, we have a bunch of stuff because I like it.
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of it. Like it's not like we can run like a class doing all strongman,
Right.
but we have those things just
Okay.
because I think that people should train with those things. So
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Better overall athlete. Talk about the social media side of things. So you're at, I don't even know what the numbers are currently, but huge on TikTok and I think on Instagram as well. So how did you get into, like, where did social media start for you? When did you start blowing up, and what kind of drove all that?
dude, so like for years I've never been into Instagram. Like
Okay.
it's one of those things that like I don't personally look at Instagram and browse it. Like I don't scroll, and I never got it because it was just like pictures. Like back in the day, like when it first started, it was just like pictures, and I was like, this doesn't interest me at all. And then they're also like super manicured pictures
Mm-hmm.
where it's like I got to get the perfect lighting and the perfect this and the perfect that, and it's just like picture. It didn't provide a lot of value to me, so I just didn't find the entertainment in it.
Yeah.
So when TikTok came around, TikTok is completely different, right? It's like so video focused, and it's like just fucking film something.
Yeah.
And like your content matters, and like it doesn't have to be. It's better if it's probably not perfect.
Yep.
And like just deliver the message, and deliver something that's entertaining to me, right? And it was creative, and there was like people that didn't make it on Instagram like could get onto TikTok and just be themselves,
Yeah.
which was like really fucking cool to me.
Yep.
You know, and like for a while it was like a kids dancing app, but it's morphed into something different, right?
It definitely has. Pete, there's a lot of business owners that I know, and it's that is the perception is changing, but people still think it's a bunch of teeny boppers just shaking their rear ends on for
Yeah.
video. There's still that out there for sure,
Yeah.
but a totally different landscape now.
Yeah, completely different landscape now. It's like even from like a year ago, it was just like, you know, I kind of do miss like the TikTok from a year ago because it was like a lot of funny skits and a lot of funny things. And now it's like you get all this political commentary and
Yep.
you know, vaccine or no vaccine kind of commentary stuff. And I understand like the purpose of all that stuff, but I kind of miss the fun aspect of TikTok too. I mean, it's obviously still there.
Sure,
but
sure.
I mean, I was afraid to post to Instagram. I was afraid. So back in January, I basically was like, you know what? I want to start doing online coaching. And I paid for this course and I did this whole course, and like, they were basically like, yeah, well, you need to be posting to social media.
Oh.
And I had this phobia, like, and I don't know if you've experienced this or not, but I had a phobia of posting to Instagram, like just as myself. I mean, I would post for the gym where it's like, I'll take pictures of other people. I'll be behind the camera. I'll write the caption, but I don't want to be the main focus.
Sure.
And I had this huge phobia, and I just basically like just put it off for months. So it took me from around January to around March to make my first post.
Wow.
Yeah, I would write it, I would take a picture and I would do the thing. I'm like, no, today's not the day. I mean, and honestly, I had like 600 followers
Yeah.
January 2020,
Oh my
or
gosh.
March 2020.
Wow. So you've taken, so I was looking at your profile. So you went from 600 to
Yeah,
31,500 in
yeah,
a little over a year now.
18, around 18 months. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, so the thing was I was like, oh, for Instagram, what you have to do, you have to be like, you have to be like this perfect influencer,
Yep.
right? And where I'm like, I'm definitely older than all the influencers.
Mhm.
I'm definitely like not the perfect one. And I was like, what's the point? What's the point? How am I even going to compete in this landscape? And then as I started posting, like I would post once and it would take me like another 2 weeks where I'd be like, oh, fuck, what am I going to post now? Then another like 3 weeks, I'm like, oh, fuck. Then TikTok comes around and I just start consuming TikTok content where I'm like, oh, this is fun. Nobody knows who the fuck I am on here. I don't have any followers on here. None of my friends are on TikTok. So I'm just going to start making some TikToks and having fun with it. I enjoy the video format. I
Mhm.
enjoy like these trends where
Yes.
it's kind of like this inside joke for people on TikTok that like, and like I enjoy the comments on TikTok more. And so I was like, I'm just gonna start making these. And then I started making them. I got to start getting more and more comfortable on like being in front of the camera and
Mhm.
filming stuff. And then I started like figuring out what my niche was, like kind of like where did I fall within this fitness community.
Right.
And like the one thing that I found was like you just kind of have to do your own style. You have to be yourself.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like me trying to be like another TikTok influencer or creator or whatever. I just had to be me.
Yeah. And people resonate with that because you're not trying to put on an act. It
Mhm.
infuriates. You mentioned Instagram. I love to bash on Instagram because it's getting harder and harder to find people like yourself who put out good content and also aren't lying about all sorts of things from steroids and plastic surgery to the types of things they're recommending people to do from a nutrition and health perspective. It's really dangerous, some of the stuff that they're
Oh, for
doing,
sure.
you know? Um,
Yeah, for sure, man. It's crazy because it's like it's all incentivized, right? Where it's like, yeah, buy my like, if you want to look like me, buy my fat burner, check out my link in bio, you'll get 15% off.
yeah,
And it's like, or like you could actually like give helpful advice on like diet and nutrition. Because
yeah.
that fat burner ain't doing shit.
No.
Right. And it's like, it's just weird. And it's like, oh, you want to look like, oh, you have weird love handles? Like do this 15-minute circuit that I made up. And it's like, that doesn't do anything.
No.
And there's so much of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I follow a few folks who there was this one guy who put out recently, and I really appreciated this. A few people he would follow. See, you get to trust certain people, and then they recommend other folks that you should follow, or they follow certain people. But oh my gosh, I mean, TikTok is starting to get there. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a bunch of people getting really high like comment ratios and saying things like it's not just calories in, calories out. You have to eat like broccoli or something. It's something, things that are ridiculous and not backed by anything scientific,
For sure.
and they're getting traction. And I'm like, how are they not being called out 6 ways to Sunday? But they blossom. They have 300, 500,000 followers. And I just don't, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that kind of content.
Because I think people like, I mean, the general public likes to hear those types of things, right?
Mm.
General public likes to hear like, eat this is the one way, this is the rule, this is the absolute. You don't have to think chicken and broccoli,
Yeah.
right? Versus like, hey, other things can fit within your diet. You just have to make them work. And it is a list of decisions that you have to make throughout your day to fit these in, but it can work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And being like, this is how you become flexible. Because those versus like the quick fix of like coffee's killing you. And you're like, what the fuck is that? What? Like what? And there's like this, it's like people want to be shocked. They
Yeah.
want to be shocked and they want to hear these outrageous claims because that's kind of what they've been conditioned for. Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard too, man. There's people out there putting out legit helpful information, but because it's kind of like, look, these things take years, these things take months. People are like, nah, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I want the 15-minute lose my love handle workout, and it's like, well, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I saw the perfect meme yesterday, or the other day, and it said, there was a couple of these actually. It said, by eliminating coffee from your diet, you can also eliminate 95% of the joy in your life.
Yeah. That's true. I've actually done that. I actually spent the first half of this year caffeine free.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
It felt terrible the first couple weeks, and then I kind of stabilized.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did it because I was getting up to like 500 or 600 milligrams a day.
Ooh.
And I know, because you just creep up there, right? You creep up there, and like you hit around like noon, you're like, oh, fuck it, I'll just have like some caffeine, and you start creeping up, and it was just like my sleep was pretty bad, so I just cut it out. I just cut it out cold turkey.
Gotcha. Was that out of curiosity, was that a combination of like Bang energy drinks and coffee, or were you what was your murder weapon of choice?
Yeah, it was mainly I did start doing bangs actually. Yeah, so I was doing coffee, bangs, and pre-workout.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
that's where it's at.
Yeah, like a lot of people do that, but like now I'm right around like 100 milligrams of caffeine a day, and I'm pretty good.
Gotcha. That's basically like a couple cups of coffee, basically, I think.
Like 1 cup of coffee.
Like 1 cup of coffee. Okay, yeah. That's about where I'm at. I still get headaches and withdrawal if I am off that for more than about a day.
Damn.
So how does your talk to me a little bit about training philosophy and how you approach say the online coaching aspect, because I know that can be more difficult, particularly when you're distance. Are you trying to get as many people as possible within CrossFit, or it sounds like you're a little bit more nuanced in your approach?
Yeah, so like within CrossFit, like obviously CrossFit is a relatively easy one for me, I think, with people. But like I'm more like goal oriented for people. So it's like I like if somebody's like, look, man, I just want to look good. Yeah. Then I put them on a body, like I put them on a push pull split.
Yeah.
Push pull leg split. And if that's what they want to do, like that's fine with me. And then later on, what happens? It's like, well, I went hiking with my buddy, and I couldn't keep up. It's like, okay, well, we should probably incorporate more cardio then. And like a lot of people won't do cardio if there's no need for it, right? If there's no need in their life for cardio, it's like, why do it? Until there is a need, and you're like, oh shit, like I'm really lacking. It's like you look good, but you can't hike for 3 miles. Yeah. Like it's like there's an issue there, right? Yeah. So I think people start to realize, especially as you get older. Yep. Like as you get past, the 20s, you're into your 30s and 40s, I think people are like, oh fuck, I still want to be able to do the things that I want to do without feeling terrible. Yeah. Feeling like floored the next day. I want to go on vacation and like be able to jump off the boat, swim around, and not be like sore the next day. Yeah. Oh yeah. And like those are the things that are important for people. So what I like to do is I do a mix of kind of a lot of different things within programming. I usually like to do like full body splits for the general public, and with definitely some cardio incorporated. I will put some people on like people who are like CrossFitters. A lot of their issues are like just overall strength, building up overall strength, and some of them don't see changes in their bodies. Okay. Right. So they were going on kind of like this bodybuilding, powerlifting, like a power building style program. Yep. On top of, they enjoy the classes with like CrossFit and the community and things like that. So I kind of program around that. So if it's like somebody goes 3 days a week to that, then they have this extracurricular stuff that they have to do as well. So it just depends on the person. Sure.
I found CrossFitters, and so some of my background, I did CrossFit when I was first getting into weight training and lifting for about 5 to 10 years. And then because I'm a skinny guy, I transitioned over into weightlifting to get mass. but I found CrossFitters to be some of the best conditioned folks in the fitness arena, aside from obviously like marathon runners. But has that been your experience as well? And I'm sure you've been able to learn certain things from CrossFit that you've been able to apply to other disciplines, but how has that played out?
For sure. I mean, I think CrossFit in general does a really good job at conditioning, right? And if you're a skinny guy trying to get bigger, CrossFit is probably not for you because you're just not going to be able to eat enough.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to lift a lot more weight, and like you need to cut back on the conditioning a bit because CrossFit just burns. It just burns. It's hard. It's a lot of work. I mean, but the community aspect is nice. It's fun. It's fast paced. You don't get bored. But I think, yeah, it's a tough one because with bodybuilding isn't necessarily like healthy, right?
Right.
Like when you go at the higher levels with like the major amounts of cutting and the major amounts of like bulking, some of the dirty bulking, and like some of the, like when you start to, as a male, once you get below 10%, nobody talks about like how weak you start to feel. And how like shitty you feel. So, in some of those aspects, it's like, yeah, they look great. And I think, and there's also been a lot of bodybuilders who like passed away recently too.
Oh my gosh, yes. Holy cow.
So, and like just kind of some of the everyday practices within bodybuilding just aren't necessarily super healthy.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of the pillars of bodybuilding are great. It's like hypertrophy training, mind muscle connection. There's a lot of great aspects of it. So what I try to do is just take the great aspects of each one of these things and kind of put them together. Obviously, there's a lot of shitty aspects of CrossFit too that they don't address. CrossFitters are terrible at nutrition. Terrible.
Really?
Awful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, awful. And it's like they're all over the place. So it's like some of them will be doing keto, some will be doing paleo, some will be doing like an RP style thing, some will be doing, and like people who are on paleo just tend to overeat on paleo, right? And it's like they're overeating healthy foods. And it's just like, it's just, they're all over the place. And they don't understand basics of like nutrition, macros, and just like flexible dieting. Or what they do is like they hit these crazy workouts and they go home and binge.
Right.
Binge like 6 things of Halo Top, a pizza. It's crazy. Like CrossFitters are bad at nutrition. They're bad at nutrition. They're bad at like taking their time through lifts. Like even if you put them in like a bodybuilding style program, they'll attack it like CrossFit. Ooh. So they have no other gear. There's no gear there, right?
Yep.
So, and also like if you give them like a long, slow cardio style workout, they'll like take off the first, 10% in a sprint and be dead. So it's like, yeah, they don't know anything other than CrossFit. So there's pros and cons.
Yeah, I understand. That's really funny because my impression was, if you were on CrossFit, you were on paleo and you were hardcore and that's all you ever did. And you were really good about like weight control. Cause I remember being on that and it was really good health wise, but then I finally realized I needed to actually track some things or I wasn't going to have any control for weight. So that's fascinating. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. Especially now though. I mean, in the beginning, some people on paleo do pretty well, but as a mass, like body of people, they do terrible.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, it's just a lot of them tend to overeat. And then what they've done is like they've demonized certain foods where it's like, don't eat bread, don't eat grains.
Right.
And it's like, and then they end up binging. It's like, they also are out there drinking beers too. So it's like, yeah, it's like they have these rules. They kind of like don't make sense.
Yeah, I hear you. Going back a little bit to social media, I'm curious, was there a point at which you hit critical mass where something just blew the F up and your account took off, or has it been slowly stair stepping to where you are now?
Yeah. So, I mean, the funny thing is I was posting to Instagram. So it took me about a year, and I have a friend, she goes to the gym. Her name's Shantae, and her handles the Movement Maestro. And she went from like being a PT to being being like an Instagram like guru style person.
Yeah.
And she's helped me out along the way with, and if I didn't have her, I would just be completely lost. And she basically was pushing me along, being like, yo, don't be a little bitch, just keep posting, keep posting, keep posting. Because what happens is, you know, you get excited and you post for like a month.
Yeah.
And you're like, I gained like 10 followers, you know, and like I'm putting in work and they're getting like maybe 50 likes, right? And what she was like, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going, keep posting, and keep refining your craft.
Yeah.
And what happened one day was like, I was on TikTok. So this is kind of what made the difference. And this was probably at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
So January-ish. So right around like a year mark of me being on social media, I was like, you know what? I got this idea. And there's like this trend on TikTok. I don't know if you remember it. It was the How Bizarre one.
Yes.
Remember that song, How Bizarre? And it was like, the whole thing was like, let me say something. Somebody else says something and you're like, oh, that didn't work. Like, how bizarre, you know? And what I did was I re-recorded it to be like, that's how buys are, like how biceps are. And mine was like, and I just did this video of like, hey man, do you know the biceps are made of 2 muscles? And and another guy was like, no man, I didn't know that. He's like, and I was basically like, that's how buys are, you know? And then the other guy goes, how buys are? I'm like, how buys are? It's just stupid like dad joke, right? So I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to post this. This is just fucking silly. It's just dumb. And I posted it and it like went fucking viral. So it like went viral like overnight. And so I was like, it shot up to like 1 million something views in like the first week.
Oh my word.
And like I was getting flooded by comments, and I tried to respond to every single comment, no matter what. Every comment, every DM, I always try to respond to it. And I was just like, holy fuck. And then after that, what happened was I was like, you know what? So now I just have to push. Now I have to push and like make another video. So the next day I was like, okay, and then make another video. And then I was like, oh, well, I'm still getting traction. I got to make another video. And so the video after that picked up. And then the video after that picked up, and the video after that picked up. And then what it did was, I think eventually it gave me like, it just gave me confidence. It gave me confidence to, come here, babies. Gave me confidence to, sorry, I have this puppy. Hold on.
Oh, you're good.
Come here. So I foster these bulldogs.
Oh yes.
But yeah. Anyway, so it just picked up steam, and with that one video, basically it just gave me the confidence that it was like possible. Right. So at the time, I think it probably had like 3,500 followers on TikTok. And then like by the end of that week, it was like 15,000 or 20,000. And then like just gaining like 1,000 to 2,000 a day after that. So then after that, like I probably had like another 5 videos that like broke 1 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it just honestly like gave me the confidence to just keep going.
Yeah.
Where I was like, man, I felt like that video was gonna be stupid and silly and people weren't gonna like it or whatever or get it. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is for me just to be me. And if I think it's funny, if I think it's stupid and silly, and if I would laugh at it, then fuck it, man.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna make them. I don't care how many views they get. Like, I'm just gonna be me on here and just post what I think is relevant for me. And whenever I do that, I think most of them do pretty well. And like I've just kind of stopped caring about like how many views they get.
Yeah.
You know, like looking to that for feedback. And that's super easy to say once you have a following and once you have people commenting. But honestly, that's what made the difference.
Yeah.
Was me just not being afraid and kind of posting. And then what happened was like I started posting to Instagram, and really like writing like valuable captions. So Instagram, just I was still only like around like 1,500 followers on Instagram. And then like it started to slowly creep up because I started posting my TikToks to Instagram Reels and then writing captions that explained, that had some more value to them versus like, here's just a funny video, and then I would write the captions with some value. And then with that, then that kind of lagged behind and just started picking up steam really quick.
Wow.
Same thing though. It's like trying to respond to every comment, trying to respond to every DM, putting out valuable content that I thought was entertaining. And like my take on fitness is like, it should always be fun.
Yeah.
Like try not to like take things too seriously. There's definitely guys on Instagram and TikTok who take fitness super seriously, where it's like, gym is a fucking place to go to war, and I'm just like, or have fun.
Yeah.
Or just, or have fun.
Yeah.
That's cool too. And that's just my thing. And like, that's their thing. Whatever. We all kind of have our things.
Well, and that's what fitness should be in my mind is if you don't enjoy going to the gym, if you don't enjoy building a home gym or wherever you're training, the motivation goes to nil for anybody to get out there and actually do something. So for some guys, the grunts, it's getting in and grinding is fun for them, even though they don't use that term. But for Gen Pop, I mean, you're not having fun. You don't have a community. It's all over.
Yeah. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done for sure. But yeah, I think social media has been interesting just because, I'm still relatively new. I mean, it doesn't look like it because there's like a decent sized following, but, I still get afraid to post. I still have reservations, like I've learned how to deal with like trolls now. And that was like a major like fear of mine before was dealing with trolls. But I think overall social media has allowed me like a creative outlet, to just kind of put stuff out there now and not be afraid of it. Yeah. And that's actually helped. It actually brings value to my life. And I did a post on it actually, how like social media can be toxic, but there's ways that it can bring value and add benefit as well.
Yeah. The more good content you put out there, the more people appreciate you. And there's always going to be trolls and that kind of thing. I'm curious how you've figured out how to address that. Cause Instagram seems to be worse than TikTok at times for the nastiness, but I'm curious how you've been able to deal with that.
I mean, for the most part, what I do is agree with them. I'll first start off by agreeing with them, but I start to troll back, so if like somebody's like, man, you're too old to be doing, somebody come get their dad or something. And I'll just be like, yeah, totally. Who let their dad out? And then they'll basically be like, yeah, you like should go back to Facebook. I'm like, yeah, man, like, why am I not, is this not Facebook? And like, so I just kind of like fuck with them back, for the most part.
Oh, that's priceless.
It's great. It's great, man. It's like, I actually look forward to it now. I look forward to a lot of it.
Gotta find the comments. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Classic. So then how has that impacted the online coaching? And I'm sorry, remind me, when did you start the online coaching piece?
So I basically started it last July?
Okay.
And I did it kind of, I still haven't fully launched it yet because like there are pieces, I thought I could do it on my own, first of all. And I took the course, like one course, but that was basically on like online coach marketing. So like online coaching is like a business, and you have the marketing piece of it, you have the delivery piece of it, you have like the lead nurturing piece of it, and you have the retention piece of it. So there's a lot of different aspects of it than just like writing programs and hoping people stick around. And I kind of did it manually at first, and then like now I'm building out a system of like, you apply, there's a lead nurture program, there's free webinars, there's an app that you can use for both nutrition, because it was difficult for me to do nutrition and exercise and fitness. So having different tracks for people and then figuring out how to scale that. So I'd built up to around 7 people, and I was like, man, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work for not as much money as I thought. And then so I had to basically buy another program or buy a group of mentoring sessions to figure out how to scale it. So now, like, I was kind of going 2 steps forward, 1 step back before, but now I'm like just building out.
That's awesome. Are you, so how do you approach online coaching? Is it a lot of back and forth with videos for form and also progress, or are you trying to outsource as much of that as possible and keep it very, very simple?
Well, like form is an interesting thing, as long as they're like, I will look at form. I'm not doing any Olympic weightlifting online because that's too complicated.
Yeah.
But I will look at form if they're not making progress. But overall, it's like I have videos showing the proper form. And then I'll do like a form check every once in a while. But the idea is to limit it as much as you can. Like basically have we have a 130-minute check-in every week. We have text through the app that I check twice a day.
Okay.
And so you try to consolidate as much as you can. Otherwise, it's like, oh, you have 24/7 access to me. Just text my personal phone.
Yeah.
And you're just getting blown up, right? And it doesn't make it worth it.
Yeah.
But like having feedback, having check-in, getting like just the biometrics of like, are you losing or gaining weight? Are you getting stronger? Are you building endurance? So like having those tests built out. And then basically the progression, like having the progressions built out for people so that they can map their way to their goal.
Sure. Any particular challenges with that? I'm really curious about online coaching. Some people avoid it like the plague because they can't be in person, but some people have really found a way like you are to make it work. But what are some of the challenges that you've encountered with that versus the in-person stuff?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge is figuring out how to scale it and make it effective for people. Like because what it comes down to is you have to shift your mindset from in person to all right, man, like I'm motivating you, let's go, like let's do this, like you could totally lift that weight, and if not, I'm here to spot you, to I'm an accountability person. Like I'm checking now like your daily decisions on food, on sleep, on stress management. You're like a life coach with fitness and nutrition, because those aspects now all play a part, and because you can't be in the gym with them. So, you have to have them rate their workouts. They do like an RPE on sets. Okay. And you have to you have to do what you can there. You have to be crafty for sure with an app, and like having them check in. Yeah. So it's just that's the hard part. You're shifting your mindset on like how you deliver fitness and nutrition.
I'm curious about what your thoughts are on RPE versus percentages versus loading, just continuing to increase load. Some people fall into the camp that only advanced lifters should use RPE. How are you integrating that with the training? I'm curious.
So I try to get most people on like an RPE or an RIR, reps in reserve.
Yeah.
I try to get them on that as soon as possible. Okay. Simply because like I want them aware of like what their like exertion is. Like how much more can they do even in the beginning? Like I don't care if you're lifting the lightest weight. Could you do 5 more reps? And I just want them asking themselves that question. Percentage of like 1 rep or percentages, I usually don't have the majority of the people do that. Okay. Because honestly, like a 1 rep max isn't like a thing unless you're trying to really build strength.
Yeah.
Like it almost like doesn't really matter unless you're really trying to get a lot stronger and you've been lifting a while and you know your 1 rep maxes, you have a few 1 rep maxes, you're shooting for PRs. That's way down the road for a lot of people. And people in their 40s or in their late 30s don't give a shit about like getting like maximally strong.
Right.
They just want to be strong enough, right?
Yeah. And in some cases, I'm not sure your opinion on this, that could potentially be dangerous depending on what their goal is or how they're,
like it's like, you don't want someone going for a 1 rep max like back squat in a 24-hour fitness by themselves.
No.
Right? It's like there's a time and place for that.
Yeah.
And like that's why it's important, I think, to just modify things for the person. Like there are some guys I do have and girls doing 1 rep maxes, but they're different. They have different goals.
Yeah. On the app side, you said did you create that app from scratch?
No, so I use Trainerize.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's also through the nutrition side of it, there's like a branded version of Trainerize with all the stuff in it.
Oh, nice.
Basically all the nutrition checkup stuff, and like there's like some nutrition campaigns built into it, like habit forming stuff where it's like, we're focusing on water intake, or we're focusing on protein intake, or focusing on having a better relationship with food. Like there's some certain tracks built into that, which is really nice.
And is it, I keep hearing this over and over. I want somebody to actually validate this once and for all. Is it true that a personal trainer cannot technically guide somebody or guide somebody with authority on nutrition unless they are certified? Or is that just kind of all the lawyers in the world are telling you that's not a good idea, but it's actually okay?
So nutrition is tough because you have the personal trainer that can like give nutrition advice.
Yeah.
You have like a nutrition coach that can actually coach you on nutrition and habits and macros and things like that. Then you have dietitians and nutritionists who can actually make like meal plans and like create basically meal plans to fix ailments.
Okay.
Right. So it's like, and within that, like you can only really coach people within your state.
Oh.
Like, so, and there's some states that allow it. So it's like the red states allow it. The blue states kind of don't, So it's like in California, I couldn't coach someone on nutrition in Oregon.
Okay.
Kind of deal. Yep. Right. So, yeah, there's definitely some rules to it, but they're gray. But it's like if your personal trainer gives you a detailed meal plan, that's not good.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wondered about that because there's people telling on both sides, like, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can definitely do this. And I get most trainers will provide like a general eat your fruits and veggies kind of plan, but it's not really anything specific.
Yeah. Like the more, like it basically goes from vague to way more specific. Yeah. Like on the spectrum. Yeah. And like, for me, like I would be considered like a nutrition coach, right? I've been certified through Precision Nutrition. And basically it's like, we can guide on macros, on intake, and like make recommendations. We can have dietitians make meal plans and help people follow those meal plans. We just can't write meal plans and give them to people.
Yep.
But for the most part, we're like habit-based. So like a nutrition coach also shouldn't put you on a specific type of diet. They should basically be like helping you form habits around healthy eating and understanding intake, outtake, or burn, and like basically helping you hit certain goals on a broad spectrum.
Gotcha. Okay. I want to ask you about just managing this whole business, the online coaching and training side, the CrossFit gym, you've got to be extremely busy. But any cool or crazy stories? I know you had that $1.2 million fallout, obviously, and that was a big one. But any other interesting stories from just running that business and growing that following over time?
Yeah, man. I think, I mean, the whole thing has been pretty interesting. There's been times where I've just been like wanting to close up shop and just get a job, you know? I think, you know, yeah, I had that crazy time where it was just like we were pushing 1,000 members in 2 locations and
Oof.
dealing with like the investor. But today now, like I keep things pretty simple.
Mhm.
So ideally what happens is like the gym pretty much runs itself. Like a month ago, about a month ago, I went to a wedding, got COVID, couldn't go into the gym for 3 weeks. So and I wasn't in the gym for 3 weeks, and basically like it ran itself. Like the good news is I live across the street from the gym.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I have cameras everywhere.
Mhm.
And so I can watch it
Mhm.
and manage it from here.
Yeah.
And it's super easy. Then that was the goal, so that I could branch off and do something I was uncomfortable with, like online coaching.
Yep.
That was something that like brand new to me. It's a huge challenge. It's like starting up a brand new business. And like, you know, you're taking on people. Obviously, it's like I've been in fitness for a while, but delivering that style of fitness is completely foreign. It's completely new. That type of coaching where you have to like, you're literally are a life coach. You know, you're talking with people about their marriage issues and their issues with their kids and like issues with work. And it's like helping them like navigate all of that and fit in like fitness and nutrition.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times like life comes up and people are like, fuck it, man, I'm not going to work out. I don't have time or bandwidth to worry about like meal prepping. So it's like you have to create that for them. And it's not super easy. And if you know, if you don't know how that feels, like if you're inexperienced with life, you don't know how that feels to like have that pressure come down on you. Like it's going to be hard to like help people through that.
Yeah. Yeah. I am curious about your background from a business standpoint. I know some gym owners come in, have zero experience in anything related to business. Especially if you're a trainer, you have a kinesiology degree or some such. But did you come out of college having any sort of background within business, or just kind of figuring it out from the ground up?
Well, I mean, so that's actually a funny story. Like with college, I grew up in like Central California. And it was like this tiny farm town.
Okay.
And I wanted out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And one of the places, like I'd visit a bunch of colleges, and the one place I wanted to go was UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And it was just like the only college that I wanted to go to. I got in, and once I got in, I was out. I was done with like this little small town. No, not out of college.
I was like, what?
out of my like little tiny farm town.
Yep.
Right. So I got to college and I basically like just partied the whole time. I went in as a bio major, switched from bio to computer science.
Okay.
Found that way too hard, switched from computer science and finished with econ and accounting. And, you know, I was in a fraternity. I partied a lot. I graduated with a 2.17.
Dang.
Yeah. I had no desire to like go to to go get my master's or anything. I had no desire, right? I didn't do any college internships. I didn't even know what I was going to do after college. I was like, I'll just figure it out. My 5th year of college, so it took me 5 years to graduate. Like going into my 5th year, my dad told me that because they paid for my college. My parents paid for my college.
Oh, damn.
But he was like, we're not paying for a 5th year. And this was like right before I was about to start my 5th year.
Ooh.
And I was like, you could have told me sooner. Like I couldn't get any financial aid because my grades were way too low. I couldn't take out any student loans. It was too late. So this was 2000. Yeah. And I was like, fuck it, man. I'll sell weed. So me and my buddies grew like 30 plants of weed under this huge house that we lived in.
No shit.
Yeah. So, and the first month we made it was like $2,000 each.
Mhm.
But after that, we figured out, we just bought like these books and read about how to like grow weed. And we reinvested that, got bigger lights, and we ended up like making 10 to 15 grand each a month. Because like being in a fraternity, I would just put like a pound of weed in my backpack, broken up into grams, and just ride around to the fraternities and sororities and just sell it. And and being in like a party town like Isla Vista, which is like right by UC Santa Barbara,
Mhm.
we would sell that shit so quick.
Yeah.
So I would pay my tuition in cash, pay my rent in cash, and then like I graduated college with like cash.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I took that cash and just put it into a mutual fund. And then in 2000, probably around 2005,
Mhm.
I took out a decent chunk of that and started buying Bitcoin.
Oh,
So
no way.
2005 or 7, I can't remember, 2005 or 7, but I was buying Bitcoin and I was farming Bitcoin at the time.
Really?
Yeah. So all off of drug money, I guess. But like in the meantime, like I had started a few other businesses. I started like a little like computer consulting business.
Okay.
That was like, like kind of like Geek Squad for businesses.
Mhm.
Come in, fix your computers, make them run faster. I did that for like a year. That was like a side thing. And then I did another thing where I'd like buy jeans, like designer jeans, because I'm in LA.
Yep.
Go to like these like warehouse sales and buy like 10 grand worth of jeans or Uggs and sell them on eBay and make like 3 times that.
Dang.
Yeah. So it was just basically like an eBay business. I did some of that. Like I was into Bitcoin for a while. I'd always been into like kind of side hustles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you knew where you were doing going in, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and like the other thing I promised myself was if I was gonna it took me 2 years to apply to business schools because my GPA was so low.
Yeah.
I had to study for the GMAT. I had to get a 720, which is like the 97th percentile of the GMAT.
Wow.
It took me 3 times to take it, and I had to write like these really convincing essays, and I had to do a bunch of shit. And I had applied I got into 1 school out of 10.
Wow.
So it's like, it was a lot of work. And I was like, okay, if I'm not going to go, I need to still kind of get an education. So I'm going to make it a point. At the time, it was like, I'm going to read 1 business book every 3 months.
Okay.
And then I would kind of blow through them. And then basically I was like, okay, I'll read 1 every month and a half. And then I was like, okay, I'll read 1 every month. And then I was like, okay, I'll read 2 a month. Because it started to like, I would listen to books and I would read books. So I'd kind of like double dip.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting to a point where I was like reading a book a week and like just like consuming information.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
Like, yeah. And and that made a big difference. And I didn't read a single book in college. Not a single book. Like, it was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, well, and I found, it's interesting you talk about that. I read, I don't know if you've ever read The Millionaire Next Door, but most of those guys are, sitting with your GPA, extremely successful. And it sounds like you got the equivalent of a college education and a master's education just by reading that much content.
For sure. Yeah, I read a lot, and I still do read a lot. I'm probably around a book a month now.
Wow.
But I mean, I got to a point where I was like, I don't know what else, because I don't read fiction.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what else to read, and I kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's no lack of business books out there, and really good content the more that people put stuff out. So
yeah, and then there's definitely books that I like to reread each year. I love like Rich Dad Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I love 50 Laws of Power.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's what was it, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Yeah. There's a bunch of books that like I like kind of revisit I like The Power of Now as well.
Mhm.
That was a good book for me. And it's just like, it depends on where I'm at in my life and kind of like what I'm into and what I need to hear right now.
Sure. Sure.
So it's kind of nice.
Guys, take notes if you're on the podcast. Read those books. I've read a couple of the ones that you mentioned, but I need to. I haven't. I mainly consume my content through video or podcast. So I keep a couple of different marketing things, and I follow. Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I love his stuff. He's gotten. I don't know if you've noticed this, but he swung from super tactical back to more general now. I hope he's going to go back the other way, but I like that he's on top of trends and that kind of thing. So it really helps
Oh,
to
yeah.
kind of keep on the edge.
The thing I love about him is that he adjusts to trends and adjusts to the times.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also like, if you're afraid to post, he's like, just fucking make content. Just make it. Just do it. Like, do it imperfect.
Yep.
Like, if you're scared, do it scared. Like, just fucking do it. Like, he's aggressive, and I do like that.
Yeah. Yeah. His message is consistent and successful, and it's basically what we've modeled our business off of, and sounds like what you're doing from a content standpoint. Yeah. By the way, are you putting out? I should have looked at the dates, but are you putting out basically? Is it a video a day? You're just doing as much as you possibly can in a given day.
I try to do a video a day, so I try to do a video a day Monday through Friday on TikTok and on Instagram.
Okay.
I try to do stories on Instagram as often as I feel good. Because there's days where you're just like, man, like, can I just be myself today? Can I just not have a camera in my face? And like, so, and it's so crazy, man. Like, going from like nothing to like, I wake up now to like 30 to 50 DMs.
Wow.
And it's crazy. And then also the ones that come through the day. And like I said, I try to respond to all of them.
Yep.
But it's just wild. It's wild to like go from that. And then like the comments too, like responding to comments.
Yes.
It's wild to go from like 0, like wanting them, to being like, fuck, there's like 30 in my inbox. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then also being on 2 apps.
Yes.
Like, being on 2 apps.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you're just back and forth.
Oh my gosh. Have you thought about hiring a social media manager to essentially, I know Gary does do this, but I kind of have your voice talk back and forth. And so it's either you or them responding. Yeah,
I've thought about that, but like until I like really hit a point where it's like overwhelming for me, it's like it pays for it to be like my voice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It pays like, cause I like to respond to comments and like try to be funny or try to like elicit some sort of like back and forth versus like, thanks, like, thanks for the comment. I try to like do something a little more. I try to look at people's profiles and like, if they have something up, mention something about who they are, maybe,
Yep.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a lot more interactive. I'm sure that also really resonates a lot more with people than just firing off.
And I also try, like, people who I like on social media, I always try to like comment, comment and like their stuff, with something thoughtful instead of like cool video or, always try to do something thoughtful.
Gotcha. That's terrific. Where can people find you, both physical location as well as the online coaching and social media piece?
So physical location, I'm in Hermosa Beach, California, 3 blocks from the beach. I mean, you can find us at CrossFitSouthBay.com.
Okay.
And we've had some fun people drop in. Like recently, do you know who the Fittest Wizard is on TikTok?
No.
He's the dude that like dances, and he's like, you would know him if you saw him, but it's usually like 3 or 4 of him. And he's like made himself. But anyway, he dropped in. He's fun. He's a funny dude. Nice. He's like he's like a crazy gymnast, but he's a CrossFitter too. Nice. So the guy's like, he's like a freak athlete for sure. Wow. Yeah. He's just like hang snatching 275.
Oh my gosh.
Like casually, but can also do like a back handspring, and like he can do the splits. It's fucking wild.
Holy
dude is a freak. Dang. So that guy dropped in. I'm trying to like, I want to go on kind of a tour and work out with like some more like TikTok people.
Yeah.
I want to do some like, I want to go in like commercial gyms with like some TikTok influencers. Because I haven't been in a commercial gym in probably at least 12 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Like I haven't done like an actual workout in a commercial gym in like 12 years.
Jeez.
So I think that would be fun to like just see what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But or on TikTok it's at I know Forrest.
Okay.
And also on Instagram. Same thing.
I know Forrest. Awesome. And is online coaching in your bio on both of those?
It's not yet. So I've just been doing it through DMs.
Okay.
I have like the application and everything all set up. I just have to test it.
Okay.
Because the application comes with like a full like lead nurture thing. So I'm like trying to make it all work.
Yep.
So it's not quite up yet.
Gotcha. So folks, check Forrest out on those social platforms. Again, if you want coaching from him. I love the style. So definitely DM him. Do you prefer a DM through Instagram or TikTok, or do you have a preference?
Instagram for sure.
Okay, got it.
So for sure. I'm just gonna get a little video of this.
Okay.
And I got a little puppy in my lap.
Aw.
Yeah.
Little guy. I love that you take. How many of those have you taken care of?
She's the 5th.
Okay.
So yeah.
Aw.
She's sleepy right now. But she's the youngest one. She's 11 weeks now.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Big. Dang.
Yeah.
Nice.
But she's just a sleepy baby. But most of them are like either rescued from breeders or a couple were from like the Chinese meat trade.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Didn't know the thing. Jeez.
I know. Yeah. So fostering dogs is always fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it keeps you insanely busy too.
Yeah, they're a decent amount of work for sure. But they're so fucking cute, you know?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Great.
Well, Forrest, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Check him out, and I'm sure we'll be in touch in the future. But best of luck with your business, with online coaching piece. It seems like you've really got a big thing going here, and much luck going forward in the future, man.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck to you too with everything. I see you growing.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you're going to be selling out of all of your equipment soon.
That is the goal. Hopefully not get too big for our britches, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, man. I love it. Take on Rogue.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. That's the goal. All righty, brother. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you for listening. Please give FreedomCast a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would mean a lot to our business. Plus, it's fun to read y'all's reviews. See you next time.